Go ahead.
Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at all Helping Parents Heal meetings is voluntary. All discussions that take place at affiliate led meetings are confidential. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. Thank you, Andrea, for being here. And we're so looking forward to this evening with you.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
are. And actually, I just wanted to quickly say that Andrea is um, so caring in terms of all of the different services that she offers. And I know that many of you have been on her sound healings, but there's a lot of backstory to Andrea. She has been a serial entrepreneur. She's had an incredible life, but she's also a shining light mom, and she's experienced near-death experiences and automatic writing. So I can't wait for her to tell you more about all of this so that we understand Andrea more and Chloe more as well, her beautiful daughter, Chloe. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Andrea Courey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Elizabeth. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes? Okay, great. You know, I laughed when I sent in the picture that you were using for this Facebook announcement. I don't know if any of you noticed, but in that picture, I have no hair. That's right. My head is shaved. And Chloe's the one with the hair. And I used that picture for two reasons. One is because I was going through this cancer journey with Chloe, and she was never losing her hair. She never lost her hair, no matter how much chemo she did or how many treatments, she never lost her hair. But from a parent's point of view, I felt like I wanted to just pull my hair out. It was such an experience, such a difficult journey. So one day I said, Chloe, we're going to the hairdresser. And I had really long hair. My hairdresser, when I walked in the door, she refused to shave my head. She said, no way. So we went to somewhere else. And Chloe sat there with me. And I said, Chloe, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this because I really can't do anything else. What else can I do but love you and be there for you? And this is like an act of love from a mom to her child. And I shaved my head. So that's why I sent you that picture, because it reminds me of the things that we do. And you know, it actually helped at the time. It actually helped, sort of made me invisible so that I was only there for her and to take care of her. But you're right, Elizabeth, there's a real backstory because I was able to develop this sense of being able to talk to spirit. And it started full blown after my near-death experience. And that goes back now. I was 31 years old. That was in 1991. And I woke up one morning and I saw in front of me, I saw like a movie. So it wasn't a dream, because when you have a dream, it's really hard to remember the details. But when you have a vision, you remember everything. And I saw in this vision, I saw a road, I saw a storm, I saw my husband and I walking down a street. I saw a car lose control, jump the sidewalk, and hit us from behind. I saw the make of the car, the color of the car, and I heard my husband scream. And then I forgot about the vision because it was a very special day. It was the day of my grandmother's funeral. And that night, so we did the whole day, at that night, at 10 past 10, so we're talking about 15 hours after the vision, we're coming out of a house. There's a massive snowstorm. There are cars parked everywhere. There's one tiny little opening, almost impossible for a car to get through. And sure enough, we don't see the car because we're walking down the sidewalk, and this woman loses control. Her car jumps in, hits us both. And as I'm flying through the air, I say, wait a minute, something's gone to a lot of trouble to warn me, to let me know that everything is okay. So just relax and go with it. And so I did. And I flew basically about 35 feet down, hit my head, and then came out of my body. And at the time, I was wearing this amazing coat. My grandmother had always told me that every woman should have a red coat. And this coat was so incredible. It was a heavy winter coat. This was a December night and a huge snowstorm. And I was wearing that coat. But I could tell you, I was not able to wear that coat ever again after that evening because there was so much glass embedded in the coat. I couldn't wear it anymore. But back to the experience, massive accident, total chaos. Both my husband and I are hit. And there's this house that we were at was full of people. Everybody starts coming out into the road without a coat on in this massive snowstorm. And I am panicking because I'm seeing all these people and I'm trying to tell them, put your coats on. What are you doing out here? And nobody can hear me. And then I look down and I feel myself rising up, and I'm about 9 feet up, and I see this figure on the road and I recognize the coat. I said, oh. But I said, that's not me because I am me. And that was my first real experience of really understanding that my consciousness was not in that body. All my feelings, all my emotions, everything was with me. And then I saw the chaos and everybody screaming. And I said, I just started to just detach. It just stopped mattering. And I found myself moving up, moving away, encircled with light, filled with love, and incredibly surrounded. It was like I was on a cocoon, a cushion of love, and I was carried away to some other place. And then this figure appeared before me, and they asked me, and this part always gets me because he addressed me by name. And I'm like, you know my name? And he said, Andrea. And I'm like, ugh. He said, do you want to stay or do you want to go? And I had 3 little children. Imagine, I had a 1, 3, and a 5-year-old. So I said, whatever shape I'm in, I said, I must go back. And then he asked me again. And I said, I have to go back. Even if every bone is broken, I must go. And I was thrown into this vortex of energy, is the only way I can describe it. And yet I had hands and I had feet. It's like I had my astral body that was holding on for dear life in this vortex as it spun and spun and spun and slammed me back into my body. So the actual near-death experience was that. There was no life review or there was no other encounters with any other beings. But the cool part was what started happening afterwards. and it just started opening up. My grandmother, who had passed and whose funeral was that day, she started talking to me. And at one point, she even said to me, Andrea, we're going into business. Go get that label. No, go get that photograph. You're going to make a logo and we are going into business together. And that is some of that is covered in my book with Chloe, but you don't argue with your dead grandmother when she says, go make a logo. We're going into business. I said, what are we going to do? She says, we're going to make granola. Now, my grandmother had always made granola and I had always made her recipe for my kids, but I didn't know anything about running a food business. I didn't know anything about running any business. But sure enough, very soon after that accident, and this is not unusual, I kicked my husband out. I said, that's it. I am not living in a loveless marriage. And there was no problem. There was no argument. There was no difficulty. And he left. But then soon after that, I ended up with no child support, no job, no money. And I began to see that my grandmother actually was preparing me for what was going to come, because I needed to do something. I needed to make money. I needed to support my 3 children all by myself. But I had no idea how to start this food business. So I had the logo, and it was a really nice logo, but that's it. And I had the product that I used to make all the time for my kids. So imagine this: one day I open the door and this little cat runs in the door, and my kids go crazy and say, Mom, we have to keep this cat. So I say, okay, it's a tiny little thing. I'll take it to the vet. And if the vet checks out and says the cat's okay, we'll keep the cat. And sure enough, what happens? I go to the vet and I meet a woman sitting there in the vet's office. And she says, we're putting on this event and we need a great breakfast item, but we want something really healthy. I said, no kidding. I said, I make granola. And sure enough, that's how my business started. That's how it started. And I worked really, really hard. And just about every Friday afternoon, I would walk around the factory. I started at home. I started in making granola in my little oven, and then I moved, and then I moved, and then I moved again. And then I would take, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And no bank would lend me a penny. I was a single mother with 3 kids. So I did what they call bootstrapping. And I created a business out of nothing. And in 2015, I sold it. And I didn't have to work anymore, because since I had bootstrapped it from the beginning, there was no debt. And I was free. And I put a knapsack on my back and I went to Italy. Of course I went to Italy. Put a knapsack on my back and I was gone. 1 month. I figured I'll just go. Nuh-uh. 1 month. And I get a phone call. You have to come home. Chloe is sick. And I thought, wow, what divine timing. Once again, I had a month. I sold my business, so I have the time to take care of Chloe at the end of her life. And that's what I did. And while I was working, while I was running my business, I was learning. I was learning from my grandmother. And I learned that when you want to hear spirit, they don't hit you over the head. Well, I got hit over the head when I had the accident, but you don't get hit with a 2x4 when spirit is trying to talk to you. It's like a whisper. It's like you almost think it isn't there. It's like it's not the loud voice. It's not the phone or the TV or the radio. It's when all of that is turned off and you kind of get an inkling of something, or you get a thought of something and you listen to it. And that's where meditation comes in. one of the first things I did after my near-death experience was I started meditating. And about 10 years in, that's when the first crystal bowl showed up, and I started doing sound meditation. And I think for all of us, really, to connect with our kids, if you could take just a few minutes every day, even in my crazy schedule when I was working, I would find time to meditate. I mean, I used to go to work in the morning. I would wake up at 4, make 3 lunches, get the kids off, throw a sweatshirt over my pajamas, go to the office, pick them up at the end of the day, come back, make supper, do homework, on and on and on. It was a crazy, hectic life. But still, I thought, there are times in the day when I could do this, like when I'm driving or when I'm cooking. And slowly, slowly, I started hearing spirit more and more. I was thinking about this talk, and I was going through my old papers, and I found something that I hadn't seen since 2010, since I did this. So one day, I'm going into work, and I hear a voice in my head, and it says, "Don't go to work. Just close the door, come back, sit down, get a piece of paper, and take this down." And I thought, how can I not go to work? I mean, I never missed a day of work. The only time I missed was 1 week when I had cancer surgery. So I closed the door and I came back in, and I started hearing the same phrase repeated over and over. That's a key. They will repeat the same thing over and over till you hear them, till you acknowledge that it's not you. And so this was the whole thing I started writing back in 2010. I never hesitated. I never made a mistake. It just goes on and on and on. It's pages and pages of writing. And this was the first sentence I heard, okay? My error was not in underestimating the value of my words at Gettysburg. What kind of a sentence is that? My error was not in underestimating the value of my words at Gettysburg. And it went on, and it went on. My error was not in underestimating the value of my words at Gettysburg. And I thought, Gettysburg? There's only one person it could be. Who could it be? And so I suspended my disbelief and I said, "Mr. Abraham Lincoln, I am honored." And I sat down and I took the most amazing dictation. And since then, I have spoken to different scholars of Lincoln, and they confirm some of the stuff in there that I had no idea about, because some of it is knowledge, like who his wife was and the woman he loved before and all this. And then other automatic writing started. And that's something I would encourage everyone to do. You know how you could do it? That's a really good idea. I've just been given the idea of how you could do it. Go to the library and get a biography. Get a biography of somebody you're really interested to read about. Somebody, they could be dead 500 years. It doesn't matter. They could have died 10 minutes ago. It doesn't matter, because everybody's alive. Read that biography and you really get under the skin of that person. And then close the book, take your paper and pen out, and just start. There's so much I could share. I want to share with you 2 amazing things that happened with Chloe, and both of them involved helping parents heal. So this is the most recent one, and it happened at the conference last year. So I'm doing a sound lounge. Elizabeth has asked me to be in this room and she supplied me with the most beautiful bowls, and I brought some other instruments, and I knew that over the 4-day period I was going to be in this room with that incredible PowerPoint going on behind me with the pictures of all our kids in spirit. Over 900 pictures on this PowerPoint behind me. So of course I get into the room, and I'm in the room about 5 minutes, and the computer that's supposed to run the PowerPoint breaks down. So I say, "No problem, give me the PowerPoint, I'll put it on my computer." And so sure enough, it runs really well. The next morning I go in, nothing's working anymore. And I'm panicking a bit because I feel a responsibility to all the parents who want to come in the room. So I'm fiddling with everything and everything is frozen and I'm getting very upset. And then I look up at the screen, and whose picture do you think is frozen on that screen? And it's my lovely Chloe. Out of over 900 pictures, it's her picture, this picture, which is up on the screen. And Elizabeth's son-in-law was in the room with me and he's like, "Oh my God, isn't that Chloe?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I said to her, I asked her, I said, "Chloe, how did you do that?" And you know what? She didn't actually answer me. She said, "Mom, you make it so easy." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "You don't doubt." And I thought, you know what? She's right. And that was it. That was it. So my mission is to help people let go of doubt. Just let go. Even as crazy as you might think, no, that can't be a sign from my child. Just let the doubt go, because then you really open up to allowing the messages. It's like you almost create a highway of information flow back and forth. It gets incredible. And the proof of that is that amazing book that Chloe and I wrote. So that was the first sign, was from the conference. There's a little more to that too, which is I was so blown away by that sign that I marched into the large conference room. I had to tell somebody, and I marched up to this family that had this young boy there, and I told them this, and they all kind of looked at me, didn't say a word, and I said, "Gee, sorry, see you later, didn't mean to disturb you." Later that day, that family came into the sound lounge, and that young boy said to me, "You know, you changed my whole day. Because of that story, I opened up and I stopped doubting." And I thought, amen, thank you, Chloe. And it was worth it just for that one boy. It was like maybe 14. So I'm going to backtrack a little now, and I'm going to tell you the other amazing sign. So Chloe passed in February, and her date was February 18th, 2/18. On January 20th, which was the day she went into palliative care, I knew that I wanted to find a little place so that I could heal after she passed. And of course, I didn't know at that point what the date would be, but I knew that I just wanted beauty. I wanted to be in nature. I needed something simple. And I went online and I found this beautiful little Airbnb cottage on the waterfront. One little room, 400 square feet. It was perfect. Do you know what the address is? 218. 2/18, it's the exact date of Chloe's passing. So I move into this little cottage, and I've been in there just a couple of weeks, and I write Chloe a letter saying, "Chloe, you would love this place." And she begins speaking to me. She says, "Mom, you are so easy to find, it's a joke." I said, "What do you mean, Chloe?" She said, "You're light." And I saw a talk that Sue Frederick gave. And in this talk that she gave, there was a slide of the planet with all these lights coming off the planet when people pray. And I was like, that's it. That is exactly what Chloe showed me. And this is true. I never knew this. Prayer is actually a real thing. It's a real thing. And they hear us, and they love it when we speak to them by name. And they love it when we engage with other people and talk to them. They love to be remembered. And when we pray, we send out light. Imagine that. So she said, "Mom, you're so easy to find, it's a joke." And she said, "Get your computer." And that's the exact same little laptop I'm talking to you with right now. Open your laptop and just start taking dictation from me. And we started having a conversation. And this conversation, this is another good tip. It pretty much happened around 4 a.m. So this isn't something that I was able to tune in well after, a day of being out or whatever. No, it was way before the day began, when the brain was not yet fully awake. And she had this crazy way of waking me up. I would open my computer and she would begin speaking to me. I had my eyes closed and I would type and I would never make a mistake. When I was typing my words, I made lots of mistakes. But when I was typing her words, they were perfect. So read a biography. Just start writing. Whatever it is, just let the doubt go. A few years ago, I wanted to, just for fun, I said, okay, I'm gonna speak to a medium and just really have a wonderful conversation and whatever else she wants to tell me. And it was a few days before the passing date of February 18th. And I had this wonderful medium, Ferouz, who it was just a great reading. And we just had a lot of fun together. And at the end, Chloe says, Mom, I want to thank, and she starts naming all these women. And I didn't know who she was talking about. Sometimes if you have a reading and you don't know and it doesn't register and it doesn't click, doesn't matter. Write it down anyway. Plus, you can only absorb part of what they're saying because it's like your brain is just trying to adjust to the fact that you are communicating with your child. And so write everything down. So I wrote these names down, but I had no idea who they were. 2 days later, Elizabeth contacts me and says, Andrea, I know it's the date of Chloe's passing. Would you like to write a tribute? And we can put it up on our Facebook page. And I'm like, of course I want to write a tribute. And so I did. And I checked the Facebook page the next day, and there it was. And guess what? Down in the comments section were all these lovely comments from all these women, and all those names were the names that the medium had given me 3 days before I had even written the thing, before I had even written it. So once again, there is no time, and it's like this amazing fluid thing. Okay, this one I've told you before, but I got to share this one with you. So sometimes, when all this phenomenon is happening, it's a bit crazy and impossible to understand it all. And so at one point I went to the Arthur Findlay College in England. I went twice, actually. And if you want to develop your mediumship skills, wow, they go through the roof when you're there. They completely go through the roof. I was just incredible mediumship that I did. So we were always practicing. And one day this young man was giving me a reading, and he said, oh, you're going to find this piece of carved wood and it's just going to blow you away. You're going to be amazed and it's going to change your vision of things and yada, yada, yada. And I had no idea what he was talking about. A piece of carved wood. I know, Elizabeth, I've told you this story. Now, Chloe never lived in this place with me where I am, and I have not very many of her things. I have some of her clothes because I love to wear her clothes. But one day this showed up, and it's carved wood. And this was one of those things that she would roll her hair and stick it in the back, to keep her hair up. And when I saw it, I have no idea how it got here. And when I saw it, I said, oh my God. And that gentleman gave me that reading in 2017, and it was like 6 years later this showed up. Yeah. So, conversations with Chloe. I start writing the book, and she says to me, you can edit your words, you can write whatever you want, but if it's my words, you have to take down the dictation perfectly and you can't change anything. And her voice is completely her voice. So I said, okay, Chloe, they better be great. And there was no like reverence for this conversation, or it was exactly the same way it would have been if she was sitting in front of me. And at one point, I said, Chloe, I want other people to be able to do this. If I can do this with you, other parents want to do this too. But remember, it's not like it just happened from here. I started meditating in 1992. I started doing automatic writing. I started listening. And then I started hearing. And it just takes time. It's like the more you practice, the more it will come to you. It really, really will. But in this book, I took me about 5 days to do this. It was hard work. It was really hard work to write this down. And I created something. Actually, I didn't create anything. In fact, she's still pissed at me because I put that the book is by Andrea Courey. Wrong. The book is co-written. It's really co-written by her and I. So I told her, okay, sell 1 million copies. I'll change the cover of the book. But as it happens, I basically give this book to whoever requests it because it's a special gift. I met this really wonderful medium, and he said to me, you know, you have gifts. And I said, well, I've been working on them. I've been writing this book with my daughter. He looked at me and he said, you're not writing that book. He said, that's a divine gift. That has been given to you so that you can share this with other people. If you want to develop your skills, you have to work at it. You have to be committed to it. So there's no really easy way to do this. But in this book, there's something called the 12 steps to bridging. And it took me about 5 days to take them down. And I'm telling you, it was hard because when spirit stays so close for so long, it's like your energy gets depleted. And me, Miss, organic great eater that I am, all I could do was eat like chips and Tostitos for 5 days. I just wanted salt. It was exhausting. But I got it down, and it's in the book, and it's called the 12 Steps to Bridging. And we're not going to go into it now, but I want to give you a break. So one of the 12 steps was raise your vibration. And up until that point, I had done sound for different people and for friends, but I had never really gone public. And Chloe pushed me. And I started saying to myself, what can I do to honor my child and bring more love into the world? What can I do to honor my child and bring more love? And you know what? I said, I can help other people raise their vibration. I can help other parents let go of doubt, because when you have the experience yourself of that after-death communication, nobody can tell you it didn't happen. You know it did. And so that's what I do. And I just love doing it. There's so much joy in it. What can I do to honor my child and bring more love into the world? Wow. And she gives me all kinds of messages. So at one point, I had my grandmother helping me run my business, which was called her name, by the way, Grandma Emily's Granola. You can look it up. There's many, many articles on this business, because it was sort of like I was this incredible entrepreneur. Wrong. I was not an incredible entrepreneur. And I almost used to feel guilty that people would think I was so amazing, because no, I just had this force behind me that was pushing me, and it wasn't always easy. She would give me a hard time. If I messed up and did something wrong, she would tell me. But she was with me. And I realized we all have that force with us, right? We do. We just forget. So I always encourage people to have something in the house that vibrates. Something that you could just take a moment during the day and stop. Just stop. You know, one thing about this road though, it does change you so completely. Like, I can't watch the news. I don't. I decided that my life has to be bigger than all that bad news. It has to be bigger. And to be bigger than all that, you kind of have to turn it off. Even if somebody else in the house has it on, you just make a conscious effort that you're just going to stay in love. It's hard. But you receive so many confirmations that you're on the right road. So many. You know, if Chloe was sitting right here beside me, you know what she would tell you? You're right that all our kids are in this together. They are all working together. You know, Irene, that incredible dream, all of them in the room going crazy, they're really doing it. They are bringing us together. I remember one time Chloe said to me, Mom, if you only knew we're all around, you'd be bumping into us all the time. And she says, you know, you think you are so psychic and this and that. She says, you don't even know half the times that I'm there. I said, okay. I asked her once, I said, what are you doing? Where are you and what are you doing? And she said, you know, we do the same stuff we did when we were in the body. I used to love to be with flowers and study flower essences, and that's what I'm doing. She told me she was in a lab where they were learning new color combinations for flowers. How cool is that? But after Chloe passed, you know, it's funny, eh? Even with that, even with the direct, incredible contact and the conversation, and you still grieve, and you have to go through the grief. It does not spare you that journey, even though each one of us is unique and our journeys are unique. All the visits don't spare you any of it. You have to go through this incredible heartbreaking loss. And I wanted to meet other people going through the same thing to figure out how do they handle it. And so I got together with Patty May and a group in Ottawa. And that was about a 2-hour drive for me. So I would drive on a Sunday 2 hours, stay 2 hours, and come back 2 hours. Imagine. And it was so worth it. It was so worth it. And one day I'm there, and all the moms are talking about the signs they receive. And I said, Patty, can I just press record on my phone? This is amazing stuff. We should be sharing this with other people. And all the moms said, sure. And so I wrote a second book. And that's the book Elizabeth was mentioning to you before. And this one is called Magical Thinking Not. Not because that's right. There was a mom, and she really went through a horrific time. And so she would see a psychologist in order to be reassessed for the insurance, yada, yada. And after 2 years, her children had passed. She lost more than one. And the psychologist said in his report, and in fact, I quote the report because she showed me the report. I said, oh my God, you got to let me quote this report. And he says, you know, she tends to sort of be psychotic in that she says that she hears her children and she feels them with her. But even though she's prone to this magical thinking, we don't think, we don't have to raise her meds or something like that. And when I read that, I said, boy, oh boy, do we have a long way to go to accept that there is so much more going on than just what the eye can see. So in this book, I also talk about mediumship and what relief it can bring. Yeah, how much it can do. Early on, Chloe said to me, Mom, you need a spot. You need one consistent place where we get together. So I picked a bench, and I mean, to me, it was important that it be outside, it be near the water, and that was our spot. And so I would say to her, okay, Tuesday, 10 a.m., please be there. And she, you know what she told me? She appreciated that. She was like, yeah, Mom, I'm busy too. So, you know, I will come though. If you have a 911 emergency and you need me, I will come. And I want to show you this. I don't know if I can reach back there for it, but oh, there it is. So these, I've mentioned this before, so I don't know if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But actually, when you hear something repeatedly, you know it's the truth because you can't repeat a lie, right? So Chloe was not a very good artist, but she had many, many paintings, and I just didn't know what to do with them all. And I decided to keep one. So I asked her, which one do you want me to keep? And she said to keep this one. So all it is pink, you see? Just like this beautiful, soft pink. And then down in the corner, there's this one little dot. And that little dot, I appreciated that because she said, Mom, that's the Cancer. But this is me. And this is the Cancer. And she said, when you need me, you know, like the fire thing, like crack the glass and pull down on the knob. When it's really bad and you really need me, push on that and I'll come. And you know what? I did it once, and I didn't do it as a test. I did it because my heart was breaking and I missed her so bad. And I said, please come. I want to know that you're here. And I touched that thing, and she basically tackled me. I physically was tackled and was thrown onto the couch. And I told this story to a large group of people. And this woman put up her hand and she said, you know what? My husband told me the same thing and I didn't believe it. I thought I was imagining it. And now that I hear it from you, I know that what he was saying was true and that I should not doubt the messages he sends. And I thought, bravo. That's another thing she tells me. Share what you get. You got to share what you get because what you receive may be just what somebody else needs to hear. And you don't even know that they need to hear it. Because, you know, we're all each other's angels and we're all each other's guides. Our guides are not just in the spirit world. We're here. We are all of us helping each other and guiding each other. So, as you can tell, I could go on, but I don't want to. Is there anything that anyone would like to ask? I mean, you know, we're all in this together. And it's just amazing when you look back at your life and you see all the dots, how they're connecting. And they have brought us to this place. And any question, nothing's off the table. Oh, I have to tell you one little final note. You know that little 400 square foot room that I rented after Chloe passed? I was going to stay there a month, and I ended up staying a year and a half. I loved it so much, and then I left. But in that year and a half that I was there, I fell in love. I fell in love with the man who owned the big house. So I was living in a little 400 square foot. I know. It's like, this can't be. And he was living in the big, beautiful house. But I loved my place way better anyway. I had a little 2-burner stove, and I would just cook the best meals, and it was really nice. And then I left. And 3 years ago, I came back. And now actually I am sitting and talking to you from the big house. I know. And the little house, up until very recently, was what I was using for my sound studio. And it will be again. Right now there's somebody staying in there. And yeah, so, you know, you just never know. You just never know. Wow. Yeah. So please, if anybody has a question, I'll check in the chat. Have your children, oh, my children, thank you, keeping them a little crazy. Okay, anything you want to ask me, ask me. Joined you in your healing practices. Now, I have 2 other children. I have a son who got sick, and I got to tell you, it's worse because he is still trapped in a body that now is not well. And I wish he could be free, like Chloe is free, but he's not. And that's a tough one. So that is a cross that I carry. And I would not want him to know that because I love him. But at 37 years old, he's like a child. And you know what happened? He did drugs. Ruined him. But my youngest child very much is into healing. But when this happened to his older brother, and then when his sister passed, he just basically checked out and said, Mom, I can't handle all of this. And he began traveling. He started at the age of 17 and supported himself and has lived in countries all over the world. And now he's 33. And I have to tell you, you know, that day I had the accident, he was one. And I was so banged up that I could not hold him in my arms. Not for a year, I couldn't hold him. So I put him in a bundle buggy. You know, those little knapsacks that you hold in the front? And honestly, to this day, he'll sit in my lap and hug and squish and cuddle. He never went in a stroller ever. He just always wanted to be in that bundle buggy. And so, yeah, it's pretty special. He's actually right now up in the Himalayas, and he's going to Bali next month. And I said, okay, Daniel, I'm going to come and see you in Bali. So yeah, it's been tough. But so magical thinking, if you send me an email, I will send you the PDF of the book. If you would like a hard copy of the book, manage your tree, yes. And you watch the universe serve you up a feast. Hi, Sherry. Where are you? Oh, that's you. Hi, Sherry. Sherry just communicated with me today. I'm so glad you're enjoying the book. Yeah, I know. It is a lot to take in. Yeah. But you know what? Don't believe anything I say. Do sound healing yourself. Have your own experience of communicating. Feel yourself lift out of your body. See the colors and the images and have encounters with people that you thought were dead. No, they're not. And that's how you're going to shift. That's when the doubt is going to go away. When you have it for yourself, when you experience it yourself. Yeah. You know what? There's actually so many cool things in that book that Chloe told me. Like, one of the ones I would share with you, because it just blew me away, was she's like, Mom, when you look at an image of something and you love that image, let's say take a saint, take anybody, take Jesus, take anybody that you have reverence for, and you have a deep love for, let's say, and you pray to them and you talk to them. And this is the cool part. She said, everywhere in the world where that picture is displayed, that energy of the picture rises. I'm like, whoa. And I know I'm not saying it the way she said it, but the idea is that there really is this collective consciousness and this energy. And that's why for me, I just focus on love. And I say every day, what can I do to honor my child and bring more love into the world? That's it. What can I do to honor my child and bring more love into the world? And it could be really simple. It could be a little thing. It could be a big thing. It doesn't matter. It's just important to keep myself on that level. And it does demand that I be larger and bigger than worry and fear. Yeah. And that's what I do. So I live in the big house now. Imagine that. I know. Yeah. And I'm happy too. Wow. Finally, I figured it out. Took a long time. Elizabeth, a question? Anything?
I am so excited to hear you speaking about this journey, and I love all of the different stories that you're telling. And the one that particularly was very significant for me is the fact that you stopped the screen on Chloe, went out into the main ballroom, found a family, told them about this. They had a younger son. They didn't seem very excited. And then later on, the son said that you had changed his life by doing so. I just, we never know. Um, and a lot of times we feel uncomfortable about saying things to people,
Mm-hmm.
but we
Yeah.
never know what the parents' reactions are going to be, what the siblings' reactions are going to be. But if it comes from a place of love and
Yes.
then it's always the right thing to do.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right. That's
beautiful.
right.
It's so beautiful. And everyone, Andrea does a sound healing once a month. Um, so please join her, join us for the sound healing. And Elizabeth puts it up on YouTube so you can listen to it at any time. So beautiful to listen to. And I just find it so amazing that, our daughters both passed, transitioned by cancer. Both our daughters' names start with C, 5-letter names. Carly did not lose her hair during chemo, which was incredible because she had massive doses of chemo. And that Carly passed on February 17th and Chloe February
Whoa.
18th. Yeah. So she was probably one of the girls in the room in the dream that I
Oh,
had.
for sure she
Yeah.
was. For sure. Wearing a really flowery dress and long, long, long curly hair. And oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
that's so
beautiful. And it is. It's so beautiful in the connections that we all make. And we just love you. It's
Thank you.
just amazing.
I'm so honored to be here, and I'm just happy to share whatever I can, just to help in this journey. You know, just lighten the load a little bit. Just yeah, just remember, if you wake up and you say, you know, what can I do to honor my child? Like, wow, how incredible is that? That sets up the whole day. Yeah.
I have a gratitude prayer as well. Every morning I put my feet on the ground and what can I do to honor Carly and what can I do to help someone else on this journey? And
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
it changes your life.
It changes your life. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Laura Thompson is saying in the chat box, I just love this. Art
Okay.
is not what you see, but what you make others see. This is by Edgar Degas, who is a French impressionist painter. Thank you, Chloe's mom, for being so honest and sharing a little of your journey and life. You are so lovely.
Thank
So, yes, what you are allowing us to see is something that is truly beautiful. And not only that, but again, her books are available to download free of charge, and she's been doing this for years now. She is definitely a shining light parent. We have 2 minutes. Could you possibly, I mean, I know that you talked a little bit about your near-death experience.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us anything about what you saw on the other side besides yourself that was down below? I know you didn't have a life review, but it was
Oh,
probably
I tell you what, I'm going to tell you something about the other side. It is so beautiful that if we knew and if we had the opportunity to glimpse, we'd all want to be there. And that's it. That's what they tell me. And I was given a glimpse and it was so beautiful. I went up to this window and it was glass and there were all these kids playing on the other side. And I was not allowed to talk to the children, but I was allowed to see them and they were having a blast. They were playing and they were having fun. And I was told, see? And then I saw this didn't happen in the near-death experience, but I was taken there at a different time. I was taken to just a field and I saw all the green and the colors and the reds. And I was told, that's the time I was told, Andrea, if you all were given this glimpse, you wouldn't want to stay in your human bodies. You'd want to be back home because it is so beautiful and so filled with love. And it's kind of nice to know that that's where our kids are, you know.
yes, of course, they all are, and they're all friends, and they've all brought us together. So
Yes.
I feel very grateful for that. And I'm so glad that you were able to come on and tell about your own story because we obviously have been having you on here for quite some time now without being able to tell your story thoroughly. And so thank you for doing that for us. And
Thank you.
again, tonight, as on every night, we always ask everyone to unmute and to say thank you and good evening. So if you all would like to, I'm just going to make sure.
Yes, it is. It's
Thank you,
everyone can unmute.
Andrea.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Andrea.
much.
Andrea.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Andrea.
Thank you
Good
so
night,
much.
everyone.
Andrea. Good night.
Beautiful.
Have a wonderful
Good
Night.
night, everybody.
Thank you,
See you soon.
Andrea. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You.
Bye-bye.